BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello, I'm Phil Goodlad and this is the Scottish Football Podcast. Your news, your views, your analysis, everything you need from our beautiful game. It's Thursday the 22nd of May, which means we're set for an evening of drama down West Lothian way.
It's a big belief in the changing room. They've consistently applied themselves to put themselves in this position.
Anytime you play Livingston, you have to go and earn the victory against them.
Livingston host Ross County in the first leg of the Premiership playoff final. And rumours swirl around Ibrox about a comeback.
Nothing yet about the next Rangers boss. The Ibrox club's stance remains that there's no preferred candidate, despite rumours of Gerrard being spotted around Glasgow, even his old barber allegedly seen at the gates of the training ground.
Could Steven Gerrard be poised to make a sensational return to Rangers? Plus, it's now officially the season of speculation in Scottish football.
Goal! It's familiar stuff. Penrice, brilliant ball into the box, and there's Lauren Shanklin sticking a head on it, bouncing beyond the keeper. 2-0 at Hearts.
The Hearts captain, one of many players whose future will keep us talking.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sport Scotland.
Great to have you along this morning. Have you seen Stevie? Where's Stevie? If you've seen Steven Gerrard, like everybody on social media, then get in touch. If he's down the fuel station, if you see him walking out in the park, if he's popped up in your local cafe, where is Stevie? Let us know. Craig Telfer, the presenter from A View from the Terrace. Have you already booked Steven Gerrard for the first show on his Ibrox return, Craig?
I think we're perhaps a little bit far down Steven Gerrard's list of priorities at the moment, so haven't booked him, haven't seen him, but I'll keep my eyes peeled for him.
Don't knock yourself down when it comes to Steven Gerrard's priorities. You never know. He might want an appearance on BBC Scotland. Cammy, Kerr, the former Dundee and current Queen's Park stalwart defender at the back. Cammy, have you seen Stevie?
No, I've not. That must be a trend going round about looking for Stevie. So again, I'll keep my eyes peeled for him.
It must be a trend that nobody is successful in, because we've not had conclusive proof one way or the other that anybody has seen Stevie. It's a bit like that Steven Seagal film, you know, when he comes into the bar and he's shouting, "Has anybody seen Richie?" This is what we're at. Has anybody seen Stevie?
I'm not familiar with much of Steven Seagal's back catalogue, but I'll look that movie out.
Just type in social media, Steven Seagal, has anybody seen Richie? It's 3 minutes of pure theatre. Listen, we'll get to Steven Gerrard because there is a serious point to all this. Will the former Rangers manager be making what would be a sensational return, not just to the club, but to Scottish football? We'll come to that. Firstly, I want to focus on the big game tonight. And we say this every season, Craig, and I think it's fair to pose this question. Who wants to be involved in a Premiership playoff final when there's so much at stake at the end of a long and tiresome season?
I can't wait for tonight's game. I think this game's going to be an absolute cracker. I've been looking forward to it all week, and finally we get the chance to see Livingston versus Ross County. I think if you're asking the question who wants to be involved in this, well, certainly not Ross County. Yeah. But certainly Livingston want to be involved. I was having a think about this. You know, when you were getting towards the end of the championship season and Falkirk were looking a wee bit wobbly and Livingston were chipping away at their points total to draw a level with them. The whole time throughout that, David Martindale in his interviews never once spoke about winning the league title. He always said that the team were looking to finish as high up as they possibly could, and he was always speaking about the playoffs being the next thing. With them finishing in second and having that week off, mentally they are prepared for what's coming up. They took on Thistle, beat them quite easily, and I think that it'll be a difficult game across the two legs against Ross County. Obviously a step up in opposition. I would fancy Livingston for this. I think they've got a bit of a joie de vivre at the moment, a bit of swagger in their step. I really liked what I've seen from them over the tail end of the season, and I think they've got what it takes to carry that into the games against County and win promotion back into the Premiership.
Can we pose the question, who wants to be involved in the Premiership playoff final? No disrespect to Livingston, who's got there, but at the start of the season you would have thought that teams want to automatically get up, and they certainly want to avoid a knife-edged 2 matches to decide whether they'll be in the top flight or not. As a player, would a playoff final be something that would be looking forward to, or almost that sense of dread in your stomach, a case of, well, what if we're not successful?
Look, there'll be a bit of both, and like we done it in with Dundee during the COVID time, so it was slightly different. So I can only probably relate to that. But for us, it was a total different kind of ball game. We were so going into it, as you say, as Craig says, positive. We were on the back of some good results. Whereas at the time, it was Kilmarnock who were sliding down the table, and right now, I think Ross County are 9 without a win, and get 7 defeats, 2 draws in the last 9. So it's not as if they've got much momentum, but they're still the Premiership side. They've still got that experience of going into it in the last few years, which will carry them in good stead. I know a lot of people are saying Livingston are favourites, but I'm sure Davy Martindale and his team, he'll be keeping them level-headed going into this game, under no illusions how difficult it'll be. And the big thing with it is, even if they do go up, it's the 2-legged game. So you saw what happened to Partick last year. They were cruising. Everyone thought that the tie was done. I only even tuned into the second leg at 70 minutes, and that's when the game turned. It was incredible. So again, it's good. I think, as Craig rightly said, it's good. I'm looking forward to it. I woke up this morning. You look and see what games are on the television, and you're buzzing to watch this one.
Well, you're buzzing because you watched the snooze fest of the Europa League final last night, Cam, and you think, man, any game is going to be better than that. Any game. Listen, as a player, do you, in your career, you may have been going through a bad spell, a bad run of defeats or matches not won, and then you see that your next opponent is a team that you always do well against, or it's a ground that you're going to that you always pull out the stops. Will that be the same for Ross County tonight, where this is the 3rd year in a row that they're in the playoffs? It's almost like if this was a horse race, they would have course and distance stats behind them.
I think it's slightly different, to be honest. I think there will be that kind of, as I spoke about, that negative feeling. They'll see as wee things, I think, that come into players' heads, that other players are away on their holidays, they can't book anything just yet because they're still having to play. I think Ross County as well, they're not down to the bare bones, but their squad, they've lost Chilvers through his ACL, who was, I think, their main player this season. I think that's played a massive part in their running, and actually, because they hit form. I could be wrong. I think it was about January, February. They actually hit a good wee bit of form, especially their away form. I think they went down to Killie and turned them over. But since then, they've just. But again, it's a 2-game final. Anything can happen. So I'm kind of contradicting myself at the same time. You just never know. You never know. But I think the big thing for me is, it's like Livy have their focus, and they know they're going for that. But time will tell in these next 6 days.
Craig, be honest, as a fan, you love David Martindale coming out earlier this week and saying, well, there's no pressure on us, it's all on Ross County. I was like, God blimey, Davey, it's a bit early for the mind games to start. It's only Monday.
It's something that Martindale's been doing all season. I think that having, particularly over that latter part of the championship season, when, as I mentioned there, when Falkirk appeared to be in that unassailable lead, and then Livingston had Falkirk's form began to waver a bit, and Livingston just caught them up, and Martindale was just very, like, almost had a sort of glint in his eye and a grin in his face when he was just talking about, that's like, we're going to finish in second place. All the players know they're going to finish in second place, and basically transferring all that pressure onto John McGlynn and Falkirk, given that they need to keep on winning. And I think he's doing the same thing here. And I think that it's something that Martindale uses the media to try and wind up opposition players and managers and get inside their heads. But I've absolutely no doubt just he is like so serious and so laser focused on the task at hand. I think I look at the Livingston team, and having watched them over the course of the season at points, I think they're perhaps unfairly dismissed as hammer throwers. I think Cammy's perhaps a bit better to talk about them than me, given he will have played against them this season. But I think that on the whole, they've got some good players. You look through the spine of the team, guys like Ryan McGowan and Danny Wilson, strong centre-backs, the 3 players in the midfield, all really capable football players. And then up front, you've got like Lewis Smith's really coming to form. Robbie Muirhead, one of the best strikers in the Championship. So there's a lot to like about them, and especially with a wily character like Martindale in the dugout. That's why I'm backing Livingston for this one.
As somebody who was scouted as a potential shot put athlete during my, how should we describe it, my obese years as a teenager, can I just apologise to all hammer throwers out there? We applaud what you do in the service of your country. Craig, although I do get the point. I wonder too, Cammy, and we talk about pressure. Don Cowie said something earlier this week, and I knew exactly what he meant, because if you can hear from my accent, I am not from the Central Belt. So from a Ross County point of view, Don Cowie said it's important for the Highlands as a whole that we remain in the Premiership, because it gives us as a geographical footballing area a stake in the big time. Do players listen to that and take any heed of what has been said there, and almost the pressure almost magnified that this isn't just a club thing, this is actually a geographical battle for the Highlands that Ross County are getting into tonight?
It's a tough one to say. I mean, personally, I would probably never really look into that, because again, I'm probably thinking maybe it's just a manager deflecting some pressure away, or again, it's kind of maybe brought a slight pressure to it with that statement. But I totally understand what he means. Obviously, Inverness are down the leagues just now, so it's a real kind of pressure on Ross County with even the live games that come up on a Saturday or Sunday with the Old Firm. It's a big thing for the Highlands. I've obviously been up there for a short period of time, and they love their football and all that. But no, I don't think players should look at it, really. I think it would be almost naive for them to look at it. Their job's to go on the pitch and deliver. And I know it's easy to say because everyone's had bad games, but that's literally what a player's job should be down to a single laser focus on getting the job done.
Yeah. The game is live tonight, Livingston against Ross County from Armandville, live on BBC Radio Scotland from 7 o'clock. Highlights with Jonathan Sutherland and the sports scene team on the BBC Scotland channel later in the evening. Right, let's talk about speculation, and we can only start at one place, Ibrox, or the local BP garage, or the cafe down the road, or swanky hotels, or lay-bys at the side of the motorway. We're talking Steven Gerrard. Will he, won't he come back to Rangers? Papers this morning, Craig Telfer, suggesting that he'll make Rangers wait because he needs to discuss things with his family. There were reports in yesterday's paper that actually the key to this decision being made is actually Mrs. G, because she's in a £10,000 a month house in the Middle East, and maybe has a lot to think about swapping that with a return to Glasgow. So much speculation, so much fun for the media in this sort of holding pattern. Do you think this is going to happen?
I was thinking about could it happen? Yes, I do think it happened, and I suppose that's more a reflection on where Steven Gerrard finds himself at the moment. I think when Gerrard first came to Scotland, you were genuinely like, wow, Steven Gerrard, Liverpool legend, England player, absolutely Champions League winner, like such a phenomenal career. What on earth are you doing to come up to Scotland? And I think that he really had this lustre and this aura about him. I think the fact that he's coming, if there's talk of him coming back to Rangers a second time, I think it's fair to say that lustre and aura, while still there, is a bit tarnished. Yeah. The fact that you flopped to Aston Villa, and it shows where Aston Villa are now, how well they're doing under Unai Emery, that's perhaps paints Gerrard not necessarily in a good light. And then you go out to Saudi Arabia and you flop there as well. I understand that the culture in Saudi Arabian football is very hire and fire and all that, so it's quite difficult to succeed. But it's kind of worn off a wee bit, and I think it's a bit of a lack of imagination on the Rangers directors, to be honest. I think that they've had, since they put Barry Ferguson in, they've had plenty of time to go out there and seek a candidate, and it just feels like he won the league title with them, but that was during the COVID era, and stuff doesn't count then, like the
Craig,
Rangers winning the league, St Johnstone.
Steady. BBC presenter says Rangers winning league does not count. That's the headlines tomorrow. That's what it feels, a bit of lack of imagination. So I think that I can imagine Rangers fans being excited about it, but as somebody who's a neutral, I was excited when he was introduced a couple of years ago, not so much now. It's quite a unique position that Rangers find themselves in, Cammy, at the moment, because the background going on is the takeover with the San Francisco 49ers financial wing. And while that's happening, Rangers have appointed Kevin Thelwell as the new sporting director. But there's so many pieces to this puzzle that actually finding the manager appears to be the final bit. Would Steven Gerrard be a piece in that puzzle that fits and everything comes together around him?
I think he could be. He certainly knows. I think when he took the job, he bought into what Rangers was all about in terms of the history, what it meant to the people of Glasgow. He bought into it. He won the league. He obviously did leave. But I totally agree again, Craig, with what you're saying. It's not that his reputation's been tarnished, but he doesn't come back with that sense of what he had. And to me, I don't know. It's like Rangers have 101 things to deal with right now, and I think the managerial thing should be the first thing to deal with. Get that in place, get the house in order, and then take things from there. But they've got the takeover. There was all the uncertainty about Barry Ferguson leaving. That kind of dragged on. Look, he'd be high up in my priority list if I was like Rangers board of directors, because there's probably names in there that aren't tried and tested, and I don't think that's what Rangers need. I really think Rangers need somebody that either knows Scottish football so well or is a serial winner. That's what I think. But again, people may have a different opinion to that.
I suppose as well, a lot of Steven Gerrard's success was built around having Michael Beale as part of his coaching team. I think they came as quite a good package. I'm not sure if Michael Beale could be tempted back to Rangers after he didn't do particularly well as manager there. So if it does come off, it'll be interesting to see the backroom team that he assembles around him. Because I always got the impression that Gerrard was, the figurehead, given his personality. He was the figurehead. You can have the people with the coaching expertise behind him. So I think that's something to keep an eye on as well.
When it happens, if it happens, we will of course bring it to you. A lot of people saying, well, why are you not doing anything now, Phil? Why are you not out there trying to find out what's happening? Believe me, we are. Believe me, everybody is. Rangers playing things very close to their chest, and a lot of it is speculation. And the sort of the mantra is, well, let people speculate. We sort of deal with facts, and as I say, if it happens, when it happens, we'll bring it to you. There is plenty of speculation surrounding so much happening in Scottish football, not least that we've got managerial jobs to fill, not just at Ibrox, but now at Rugby Park and also at Dines Park. Cammy, difficult one, I know, for you this week. I saw you on Reporting Scotland, and you almost looked shell-shocked with the news that came through that Tony Docherty had been sacked. As far as the management is concerned now, the manager's position at Dundee, who do you think your old club should plump for?
I don't want to come away with names because, again, I don't want to. Yeah, I'll say what I think it should be. I think I said it on the BBC the other night that I personally feel it's got to be somebody that's got a real connection to the club. And I've said it for so long. Dundee have tried every different manager, and ultimately it's failed within, again, not a long period of time. They need to know that the whole club, in terms of the people and what it means to the city, as you can tell, I'm quite passionate about the way it should be. They need to have a clear picture of what the Dundee fans expect, and that's just a team that's, again, I'm saying hard working, of course, but that front foot. Maybe not always going to win every game, but there's that proudness in what they watch, and that's what the Dundee fans need to have. It needs to be somebody that knows what the club's all about.
Cammy, is that not tosh, though? I mean, what they need is a manager to win games. It doesn't matter whether he plays the Dundee front foot way or not. I mean, I know what you're meaning, but sometimes as fans, we click into this idea. Oh, we need a manager that knows the club. Actually, just need a manager that gets a tune out the team.
They of course get a tune out the team, but Dundee aren't going to win every game. Like that, we need to have a bit of honesty about that. They want to be happy with what they see on the pitch, even if they do come off. Obviously, if they get beat every week, it's going to be a disaster. But that's obviously not a managerial. That's not what they want. But it needs to reflect what Dundee is, and I'm big on that.
Cammy, give us a name. One name. Come on.
Don't know a name. I don't know.
You know.
I'm not giving names away on this one. I know I'm not.
So this is an audio podcast, but I have a screen in front of me, and Cammy Kerr is squirming right now. Give us the initials at least, Cammy. Come on.
No, do you know what? I've not even thought. I know there's a lot of names going about, but I'm not giving you a name.
Honestly.
I can't give you a name.
Craig, this is what happens. We pay the big bucks to get the big stars on, and they sit on the fence.
I suppose it's quite a difficult time for Dundee as well, with Kilmarnock looking for a manager as well, because I imagine they would be shopping in similar places. I think Kilmarnock's is perhaps a bit more obvious. I think that Stephen Naismith's probably the front runner for or certainly one of the front runners for the Kilmarnock job, given the fact that he had done quite well at Heart of Midlothian, and given the fact that he's got connections at Rugby Park. And I think it's always, when you're trying to find a manager, it's always what other clubs are doing as well is very interesting. So I think it's in an ideal world, I think what I agree with what Cammy's saying, where you want someone who understands the club culture, understands the ethos, understands what the fans want to see. And I think that's something that I always expect from Dundee as a team, who are always quite chaotic, but in a good way. You know, you're always going to be entertained by watching Dundee, and that's whether stuff that they're doing or maybe stuff that the opposition are doing. You go watch a Dundee game and you're going to have fun. And it's just somebody who gets that, and who that manager is, I don't know. There's no names that spring to mind at the moment.
You have no names.
Either.
Cammy has names, but he's just not going to say. Before I go, I want to just touch on Derek McInnes at Hearts. Big in-tray for the former Kilmarnock manager this summer. Top of the tray, probably Lawrence Shankland and his future. The club came out early this week and said that the contract that's been put in place would make him a Gorgie legend. Cammy Kerr, it's a difficult one for all parties concerned, because this could be Shankland's last chance for a big move in his career, but also as Hearts captain, the new Hearts manager would like to be the guy that gets the deal over the line to keep a star striker.
Yeah, that shows a lot of intent from McInnes straight away, I think. You'll certainly be wanting to keep him. I think, the Hearts fans will be desperate to keep him. But as you say, does he have one eye on maybe a move that he might not get again? He's not had his most prolific season, but he's still a top striker. I think everyone knows that as well, that maybe potentially the way that everyone talks about he wasn't in his right position and stuff like that. I disagree to a certain extent, but he's certainly a top striker, and I think McInnes' intent is Poole. I think he'll get him in. I really do. I think he'll sign the new deal, and again, I think McInnes is going to build a team that's going to change instantly at Hearts. I really do. I really think they're going to. You heard him speaking about Tynecastle's been too easy for teams to play at recently, and it wasn't in the past years gone by. It was horrific for teams to go to. They didn't want to be there. They wanted off the pitch as soon as they can. But that's changed, and it shows you that he knows that as well. Shows you the experience he's got. So having people like Shankland, bringing them in, making him captain. I know he was already captain, but making him a big figurehead, as you say, I think it's good business for him.
I think the issue with Shankland as well, if I was the Hearts, it's 12 months ago, Shankland could have had the pick of the clubs to go to. That I don't think that's the case now. I think off the back of that season one, it wasn't as successful as the last one, so I think his options have diminished. I think on top of that, he's got issues to think about in terms of his own family. Like, do they want to go and maybe move to the continent or to the United States? I'm not sure. So I think if actually for this one, Hearts have got the bargaining power as to what they can do with Shankland. I think if they were to offer him a contract, I don't think it would be to the same value as the previous one was, just purely because I don't think that Shankland has the options that he might have done 12 months ago.
Guys, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed. Craig Telfer, Cammy Kerr, thank you. We're off to discuss who Cammy thinks Dundee should appoint this new manager, and probably also to discuss where Craig has seen Stevie Gerrard on the last 24 hours. If you do see Stevie, well, you can get in touch. You know the socials for us. Listen, plenty of new episodes coming up, not least a cup final special for you tomorrow. Aberdeen Celtic on Saturday, and then 24 hours later, the Women's Cup final, Rangers Glasgow City. Keep it with us for the build-up to that one. Remember the playoff first leg of the Premiership final tonight. Livingston against Ross County. It's live on BBC Radio Scotland from 7 o'clock. Jonathan Sutherland and the Sports Scene team with you with highlights later on the BBC Scotland channel. For now, I'm Phil Goodlad. Enjoy the beautiful game, and let's hope that tonight's match is a wee bit better than last night's match that we all watched. For now, though, take care. We'll speak soon.
For everything you need to know about your team this season, download the BBC Sport app. All the latest news, goal updates, stats and scores, and insight and analysis. Just select your club to get the biggest stories and best content at your fingertips. What a result. Download the BBC Sport app for everything you need to know about your team this season.